stride and take what comes and goes, and ain't no one in life holding me back no more.
Maybe you can put device is not connected. All right, hold on. Okay. Looking for a cover screen. Hold on, Kate.
Putting up a cover screen.
I'm putting up the true crime with us together.
Okay.
Okay.
You need my battery. Make sure it's her.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's me.
No.
No, it's me. I wouldn't forward bomb you.
I just always have that mentality. Gotta be safe than sorry.
I get it. You'll have to bear with me. I'm driving right now, so I apologize if I'm kind of in and out.
Okay. Let me see mic settings. I just want to see if I can do the reduce mic background noise. Sometimes that helps.
Yeah, sorry. Hold on.
No, it's okay.
Do you need headphones?
I think it would help.
Okay, hold on. Let me second.
He's just gonna grab headphones real fast, and then I just want to make sure we can hear each other, okay?
All right, I'll be at my driveway in maybe 15 minutes anyway, so just a little bit of road noise till I get there.
Okay. All right.
Tell her I said thank you for coming up, and make sure you share her link.
Okay. If one of the mods could grab her channel link and post it in the chat for us, please. I don't know why. Look how dark I look all of a sudden.
You got a tan, baby.
I got a tan. Oh.
With the bright lights.
No, but it's like I look funky. Not a good tan. All right. Thanks for hanging with me. I'm gonna eventually get it together. Why can I not? Look. This is why I'm not a YouTuber. All right, make a freaking avatar.
Did you plug it in? Can you hear the headphones?
Nope, I can't hear it through the headphones.
There's
No, now I can. Okay, stop him.
Okay.
All right, I'm ready. So, we're gonna be talking to. Is it okay if we call you Kate?
People think, yeah, I don't know how does PER. But I'm just the other time, my social security number, my address, my phone number, where I work, how my children go to school, and I don't give a fuck if the turtle cult is never gonna win. So there you go, right there. I like call me Kate, call me Miss Peter. I don't really care.
Lord, okay. I don't even know if I caught like one at first when you first started talking, it was muffled real bad, but clearly you've been through the ringer with this guy.
Well, him and so yeah, I tend to go up against a lot of people like him. So I have a cast of characters on my channel that I've kind of stood up to or pushed back against, and they all kind of use the same sort of shitty tactics with like doxing and then the stupid pizza deliveries, swatting, showing up at your house. Like I've had all that happen to me. I don't care. I guess is my point. Like I don't worry about those kind of behaviors that don't get to win.
Yeah.
Hold on. My GPS is still on too. What a mess. I'm a mess. Sorry. I took my mother out to lunch for the holiday and I'm driving home. So.
Oh no, that's okay. I appreciate you for coming up because I mean, I knew right off the bat when he got placed as the spokesperson for Karen Reed that this was going to be a shit show. Because I had been somewhat close with T-Spiracy or AZ, and so I'd had kind of heard about the back and forth that they had, and I think you were kind of involved in that situation also. And so I was kind of aware of what the backstory was.
So AD is actually one of my real life close friends. I used to work for Aiden. I was one of his writers. I was his only writer actually, and I was pretty much like number 2. So like I was pretty much running the blog with him, and she was somebody who used to follow along a lot.
Oh, so when he used to say, or when he says that there's multiple people that work for the blog, it was actually true?
No, no, not. Sorry, bad service. No, not entirely true. So when he would say that there were multiple people writing for the blog, it was just me, and I know where I'm going. Thank you, navigation. Yeah, so it was just me and him. And what he would do is he would write under the alias of like several different bloggers. Um, and they were not real. So it was just me and him, but he was presenting the image of having a staff of like 6 or 7 people, and that just wasn't true. It was, oh my God, one of his many lies. One of his many lies.
How did you get to a position like that? How did you become an assistant, basically?
I mean, it's actually kind of a wild story, and it kind of really illustrates like Aiden Carney is a very, very mentally unwell man, and I don't like him, but I'm not saying that is necessarily a full attack. It just is what it is. He doesn't have very good, not very good judgment. He's kind of like, low average intelligence, and he's got a lot of mental issues. So, oh my God. I don't know why my GPS won't go away. Anyway, so the way that he found me was I would comment sometimes on his Facebook page regarding his blog. And he reached out to me via Facebook Messenger randomly one day and was like, hey, I think you're really funny and I enjoy your comments. Exit navigation. Exit. I don't need you anymore. He reached out and pretty much was like, I like your comments. Would you like to write for me? So I'm like, all right. So I wrote like a sample blog, and it was, he gave me a story. It was really mean. I don't remember what it was particularly about, except it was about 2 people that he had found on Facebook. And I wrote a blog, kind of in the style that I thought that he would want. So I was very nasty and mean and critical. And I remember making fun of the woman's weight, which was, I got my karma because I got fat years later too, but it was just really nasty. It was just really nasty stuff. And, from the first blog that I wrote, he published it, he loved it. And then shortly thereafter, he pretty much just gave me, a complete stranger, the keys to his castle. Like, I had admin level on his website. He gave me admin to all of his Facebook pages. And then from there, I kind of got sucked up into the cult, and it became like almost life consuming that I was writing multiple blogs a day for this guy, running his social media, fighting his battles. And I did that for 2 years. And, I realized pretty early on that I probably wasn't very comfortable with everything that we were writing. But I would rationalize it in my head by saying, well, I can pick out my own stories when I find them, and I can write about what matters to me. And if I have to do this other stuff to keep the platform, well, that's fine because I can still do some good with it. And that's not true. That was delusional, because it ended up being I was like one of his attack dogs online pretty much. So, I mean, this guy, in short, pretty much gave me, a complete stranger, complete access and control over his blog within weeks of meeting me because he's lonely and insecure and couldn't really handle it himself.
Right. Well, can I ask you, did he pay you?
Barely. At first he had given me a rate. He told me that he would pay me $1.50 per 1,000 views. That's the CPM, which is a pretty low rate, but it seemed okay. And he had me under the impression that we were pulling in, millions of page views a month, so that it would be pretty lucrative. As I later found out, that was not accurate, and a lot of his traffic is it's inflated. It's not real. It's bots and stuff like that. So what I ended up doing is getting paid $200 a month to run a YouTube show on his YouTube, run his social media, deal with all of his problems, and write anywhere from 20 to 30 blogs in a month. And he would not pay me consistently all the time because he also was claiming that he was destitute, about to lose his house, his kids couldn't eat because he wasn't making enough money, and he was getting sued all the time. And one of the many things that kind of led to me quitting the blog was I discovered at some point that he was claiming to me and all of his subscribers and followers and readers that he was really broke and needed these donations and couldn't pay people and all that stuff. And in reality, he was doing things like taking trips to Disney World with his family in the summer. So I'm sorry, that's not poverty. Okay, that's yeah.
Sounds like the basic grifter. So, and you said, hold on. I don't want to get too far ahead before I ask the little bits and pieces of what you dropped so far. You said you did this for 2 years? Did I hear that right?
2 years, yep. Yep,
Holy
2018
moly.
until February of 2020, I finally, and I would say that I probably would have quit after 6 months to a year. I really decided that I didn't like him. I wasn't comfortable. I would talk to people all the time behind his back just about how much I hated him and what a bad person he was. But I knew how he operated, and I knew that I was going to become the target of the behavior that I was concerned with in him, and I didn't want to put my family through that. So I really, unfortunately, delayed leaving until it got to the point where I couldn't handle it anymore, and then, my family was the target of it anyway. So.
Well, at some point, did you consider him a friend of yours, or was it just strictly business the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, not really. I mean, I didn't like him. So it's weird because after we split, he would tell people that I was his best friend and his confidant. And I mean, even to this day, I'm people are aware now that I am in contact with a lot of his victims, including this latest one, who's a very, very nice woman. And, she's a good person, and she does not deserve half of what has happened to her or what is continuing to happen to her, because everybody wants to come together and collectively abuse him from the turtle, or to abuse her from the turtle tank, right? But as recently as this last victim, he'll tell people that I was his best friend, and I didn't see the relationship the same way at all. I thought that, I thought he was kind of a crack. I would take his phone calls and listen to him cry and whine and bitch, and I did genuinely at some point feel like, wow, this guy's really going through it, until I realized later on that it was all just manipulation, right? Like, he was just manipulating me, because every time that I would say, I don't think I really want to do this anymore, I'm getting kind of tired of the blog, he would talk about how horrible his life is, how he's having problems paying his bills, that he might kill himself, the same stuff that he does to everybody else. And I did fall for it for a little bit before I realized that this is just all a game to him. It's just his way of keeping people under control.
And so while you guys worked together, was there ever a third or fourth or fifth person, or was it just you guys together working? Because it seems like it
is. I mean, it's a cult. That's the best way I can describe it, is it's a cult. Like, you get really sucked in, and it takes over your life, and it becomes a lot, because Aiden has constant demands of people, and you're just sort of expected to pick up and do what he wants. So, like, I work full time. I have 2 teenage children. I have a home, and I have dogs and a life. I have friends. And while I was working with Aiden, it became like almost life consuming. I spent more time worrying about him and his family and his blog than I was even my own life. And that's crazy, but it seemed to me at the time to be just something that was worth it. We were going to do something really good. It was a cause, right? And I mean, the only cause that's there really is lining this guy's pockets with money and feeding his ego. But I don't think, even still, the people that are in the cult today, like, I don't see that they can see the forest through the trees and recognize that, like, you're not doing anything for anyone else other than Aiden. Like, he is the cause. That's it. So it is a lot. And it was just me and him. Very briefly at the beginning, there was a third woman who went by Manch, who I'm still friendly with today. And he had picked her up, and she was writing for him a little bit right before he brought me on. And he ended up getting rid of her because of a legal issue that was really his fault, but he was blaming her. And the way that he did it was pretty nasty. He threatened her. He threatened to expose her. He tried to roll her under the bus with this legal issue and push off all responsibility onto her. And she just kind of fled out of fear. So that was the end of him having any other staff. Yeah.
That seems to be his MO. He kind of just bullies you into submission and to keep quiet. That's why I said it. I'm shocked that it's actually taken this long, just from the little bit that I know from the story that I've heard from AZ and how y'all went back and forth with him back in the day. I would have expected him to implode long time ago. And the fact that he's just gotten bigger and bigger. When he started out with you, with what you know, did he have any other jobs? I mean, does he actually make money on this website?
Yeah. So he's dependent on ad revenue from the website, and he doesn't make as much in that as he does like reader and viewer contributions. So he's pretty much, his business model, if you want to call that, is viewer funded. So he relies on donations from his cult members, and he for many years now has had a very aggressive approach in separating the people that follow him from their money. It's all over his blog, it's all over his shows. He pressures people into it. You know, he has on his website a mechanism where you can join some sort of club, and it's supposed to take the ads off the website, and then he does like some premium streams. And I believe that it's somewhere between $20 to $50 a month, which is absurd, right? Like, you don't see subscription services like that anywhere else. And there's been a recurrent issue for at least 2 years now where we get contacted from people that decide that they want to cancel their subscription, and he won't let them. So there are people that have literally been charged for 2 years in a row now. I think it's $50 a month, and they don't want to be charged that anymore. But the only recourse that they have is canceling the credit card, because he will not allow it to be canceled. He'll also use the credit card information, because he does have access to that, so he can see, you know, your name, your address, all that information that comes through on your credit card if you buy merchandise from him, or if you subscribe to his club. And there's actually people in your comments right now that can confirm this, because I saw a couple, this has happened to them. He'll use that information to dox people if they try to leave. So if you've ordered something from him, he now has your address and your phone number and your name, and he will publish that or otherwise put that on social media if you decide that you want to walk away from the cult.
Wow.
Yeah.
That, I mean, and he's been doing this for such a long time. It's insane to me that he's able to continue on without anyone exposing him. I mean, I know I've seen your exposed videos on him and whatnot, but it's crazy how he just happens to just be able to get bigger and bigger. And now he's at a point where he's been able to raise money for a good lawyer, and he's finally in jail. But
would you call his lawyer a good lawyer? Because I don't know if I would. I mean, if the metric that you are going to gauge a good lawyer by is how many motions that they lose, then he's a great lawyer. But I mean, at the end of the day, from start to finish here, and I know to a certain extent, you know, a lawyer's only as good as their client, right? But I mean, Aiden started out with 9 charges in district court. It's now turned into 16 in superior court, and now 2 additional ones with more coming. I can tell you that for sure. There are more charges coming in the district court as well. So I don't know if I would consider his lawyer to be a great attorney. I mean, I think a good attorney would have told him to shut his mouth a long time ago. Like, as soon as the first arrest happened, I think a good lawyer would tell you, be quiet and stop talking about these cases. And if that's happening between him and his lawyer, it's not effective, because he's not.
I agree with that.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, I think he had to have been told to shut up, because to me, he just seems like the type that is not physically able to shut his mouth. It's like, he doesn't seem like the type. I think
this lawyer wants to milk him for all the money he can. The more he talks, the more money this lawyer is going to make.
It's true. But he's not going to look great as a lawyer when he's got a client sitting up in jail.
Yeah. So you wasn't working with him when the Karen Reed stuff was, when it first started, was you, or had you moved on before the Karen Reed stuff?
Way before the Karen. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I apologize. So this is a good example, though. As I'm on the phone with you guys here, someone is trying to reset my PayPal right now. And I just received a message saying, "You fat pig, you and that fat cunt you're talking to are going to die." Ha 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 ha.
Wow.
As we are discussing this right now.
Is this cult like that? Because they're going to get to meet me in person.
Yeah,
no, I could show. I wish. I don't know if I can. I'm on my phone, so I'll screenshot this and send it to you. I'm literally getting these texts, and I'm getting a bunch of alerts right now that someone is trying to reset my PayPal password right now.
Yeah, we hear your
Tell
alerts.
people that send that to you to say hello to me when I'm there.
Yeah. This is the kind of toxic environment that this guy has created.
And that's why I don't think it's going to stop. I don't think him even being in jail is going to benefit him, because there's so many people that cult-like follow him. it's going to be to his detriment, in my opinion. But he's in jail, so he's not directing these people to attack you right this moment. But yet here they are. He's lost control of these people to a point where it's like there's a train that's derailed and you can't stop it at this point. That's what I see.
This is what he wanted. This was Aiden's goal from the beginning. He has never gotten this much attention. Okay, I was long gone. I left in February of 2020. I was long gone before any of this Karen Reed stuff ever came up. He's had a couple things where, you know, he's gotten a little bit of notoriety locally, never to the level of this Karen Reed shit. And it has created, I mean, just everything awful about Aiden amplified. You know what I mean? It's like everything that he's been doing for years quietly under the radar because nobody cared about his other victims except for me. You know, I have probably, I don't even know, hundreds of emails by now over the last 3-4 years since I left, from people who feel victimized by this guy. And when they reach their breaking point, they call me because he talks about me so much. So I'm sort of like the identified anti-Aiden, right? So I've talked to people for years. And most of these people are pretty disenfranchised. They're drug addicts, impoverished, minority. You know, he really likes to punch down. This is the first time that he's ever victimized people that are in the kind of standing that the witnesses and now victims in the Karen Reed case, you know, he's never really gone after people like that before. And it's just shocking to see how this is spiraled to such a level where, like, yeah, I think you're right. I think that even if they were to put him to the electric chair, like, this is probably not going to stop anytime soon. Yeah.
He just has people programmed to be on go mode as they see the things play out. So, like, as they see, hey, you're up here having this conversation, they instantly have that go mode already set in their motion. Like, they're just going to attack you no matter what because they're like fighting his battle for him, and that's what he's created for himself. I want to go back to where you guys got separated from each other. How did you finally decide that you were no longer going to work with him, and like what happened? Was there a big story you disagreed with, or was there something in particular that
comes down to it? So I had run a YouTube show for him.
Oh, I definitely lost her. I think she disconnected from her Bluetooth and then came back up. Okay.
Okay. Just if she hops back in, you want me to repost the link, PJ?
Repost a link, please. Yeah.
All right, let me get it right here. I'm getting it now for you. I'm just sitting back here because there's a little bit of lag. So I'm just sitting back here so I can listen to it live. I didn't want to overtalk y'all because of the lag. But that is the link. She can take it again. Mods, copy that link. Somebody hacked her StreamYards. And I don't think nobody hacked her StreamYards. But man, she's had some hellacious run-ins with this Turtleboy dude.
Yeah. I mean, I knew a little teeny tiny bit of the story because, like I keep saying, Chief Spiracy was a friend of mine, and
she was running his whole shit for $200 a month.
That's crazy.
I know. She want a job? I got $200 a month. You can work for Dolly.
It's just crazy that like that is just the teeny tiny top of the story, basically. Because I mean, there's court cases, there's allegations, there's like, yeah. Go ahead, put her back up.
Let me throw up a screen just in case.
Yeah.
Is that you? Hello?
Hey.
I can't. Can you hear her, PJ?
No, I can't. I can't hear her. Kate, if that's you.
All right, we'll give it a minute. Maybe she was driving, right?
It sounded like she had disconnected from her Bluetooth because her audio had suddenly become a lot better. But she was dragging.
Okay, well, she just might be going through some stuff or in an area that she don't have no service or something. I don't know.
I meant to say lagging, but I was reading this comment where it says he's been at this for 20 years dragging people in the area. So I said dragging. She's dragging.
Yeah.
She said in the comments, hold on, let me get to my computer.
She's going to be home in 15 minutes. Okay.
She said that when she first got on. I think she's home because that's why I said it's like her Bluetooth cut off. So she back
Okay.
at home now from what I see. She commented in the chat saying that she's going to grab her computer.
Okay. Well, I'm going to come back in there for a minute.
Okay.
All right. Let me remove.
So yeah, guys, we're hopefully going to have a good conversation and get some more information on this Turtle Boy character and the type of stuff that he's been doing to people. Hopefully she'll come back up here shortly. And yeah, I have to go to the bathroom real fast.
Okay, go hold there. All right, let me cut this camera back on.
Don't let me forget where I was at.
Well, I got headphones on. I ain't talking to nobody.
Oh, I don't know.
All right, what's up, my beautiful people?
Don't let me forget where I was at. I want to know.
PJ did a good job there.
I want to know their breakup, like what.
Oh, you want to get into the breakup and things like that? Okay, well, when she gets back, I'll let you know.
I know. I just don't want to forget where I was at.
All right. Okay, let me grab my glasses so I can see what the chat is saying. I hope you get some data for all those felonies. We all know someone like him. I don't know anybody like this dude. Okay, I honestly don't. I don't associate with terrible people like that in my real life. Like, if you're a bad person like that, I wouldn't want to hang out with you. You know, I like to hang out with goofy ass people like me that ain't gonna hurt nobody, do nothing crazy. You know, I mean, if they do get in trouble, it's for doing something stupid. You know, but nothing criminal. Criminal. You know, where you stalk and harass and fighting with people. What the F? Fluffy isn't Jay, so I don't know. You guys are weirdos. TB is a clown. Okay. Didn't say hang out. Dolly, you and PJ are getting the Turtle Boy Exposed in real time. Kate is a good person. Link, please. Okay. Give me 1 second. Let me get you the link. See? Here we go. I ain't no good on this laptop. I'm sorry. Usually I'm in my studio. Paste. Okay. That is the StreamYard link. Hey, PJ. She's back. Okay. This is so crazy. I can't believe people let this guy in their life. Well, you know, look, here's the thing. People, that's why they call him a con man, because they're able to get over on you, right? People naturally trust people. All right, let me throw up a screen real quick. What do I got here? Stream starting soon. All right, me and PJ. Hey, Kate, that's you?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Okay.
This is how crazy it is. Literally, I got bombed with texts because it looks like they're trying to get into a PayPal. They're trying to get into Amazon. They're trying to start me a Tinder. So this is normal behavior.
Okay, I'm going to put PJ back on with you, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back. I wanted to pick
Sorry
up
about
where we
that,
left
Dawn.
off and talk about the breakup. Like, what was there a specific incident or a specific event that took place where you guys finally separated?
And then how did the Turtle Riders turn on her if she was a Turtle Rider? Oh, she left before the Turtle Riders.
She left a while ago. It was
Okay.
2017 to 2019, so it's been since
No,
2019.
it was I was there 2018 to 2020. So I was there 2
2018
years.
to 2020.
I left about 4 years ago. And we still, I mean, the Turtle Rider, like pretty much everything was essentially the same as far as how it was set up. when I was there. Like, you know, obviously not this whole Karen Reed thing or anything else, but for a very long time, there were turtle riders. They followed us around, you know what I mean? Because I kind of influenced the cult too. I was his second in command. You know what I mean? I am just as responsible for some of this bullshit as he is now, right? Which is why I am so committed to trying to undo some of the damage and support people that are affected by it, because I had a part in it. So it had been building for a while. We had disagreements, and sort of like before I actually left, we had a big fight because he was writing about this woman in Rhode Island who didn't even do anything that bad. I think she dressed up like Wonder Woman to go like stand outside the police station with signs protesting it, which is something that now he's all for, I guess. But at the time, he was making fun of her and criticizing her for it because she would dress up and stand outside and protest the police department, like whatever. It was funny. It was strange. Like, she was eccentric. And then he just kept writing about her. And she was having some mental issues at the time. So what he was doing online to her wasn't helping, you know what I mean? And like, she didn't seem like a bad person, just eccentric. So he starts going after her. He starts going after her kids and calling her a bad mom and making up rumors about her house being deplorable and her kids being out of, like, just things that weren't true. And she's getting more and more upset. And she would report his pages on Facebook and stuff, sort of like as her way to fight back. And this would upset Aiden because he thought that she was going after his job and his livelihood. Hold on. Jake, you're being rude. So he would get upset and write more about her, which would cause her to report more. And she's starting to cause problems because now his pages are getting taken down. So he would pull her on his live streams sometimes, have her call in and get her all worked up, kind of gaslight her into acting crazy and then make fun of her for it. And at one point, she had kind of gone off the rails so much that he convinces her to call into his show from a mental hospital. And I thought that was pretty fucked up because it's like, okay, so he's going back and forth. And I recognized that in one of the blogs that he had written about her, he added a screenshot that was supposed to corroborate that she was abusing her kids. And it was an obviously like poorly doctored screenshot. And I started kind of arguing with him and being like, look, now you're posting shit that like doesn't pass the sniff test. It's not authenticated. You're smearing this woman. She's clearly got some mental shit going on right now. And you're just making it worse. And he would argue with me. And during one of these arguments, I said, listen, like, sarcastically, I go, like, I'm sorry, Aiden, but I can't just dehumanize people at will. And he responded to me, well, I can. They're not human to me. And I was like, what the fuck? Wow. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I can do this anymore because, like, this is getting super dark. So while that was going on, I'm also running a YouTube show on his channel. And prior to me getting involved with his YouTube, he didn't really have much of a channel. I think he had a couple thousand people subscribed. His videos didn't get any views. He barely used it. So I ended up building up his YouTube channel. I took it from 2,000 subscribers to a little over 10,000. I would do my streams on Sundays. We would get, maybe 600, 800, 1,000 people watching, whatever it was. And he would do his shows on whatever days he did them on, and he was getting like half the viewers. So he wanted me to use the streams that we were doing to aggressively start pushing for people to donate money to him. And I wasn't comfortable with it for like a lot of reasons. I had a whole crew of guys that were doing the shows with me on Sundays and nobody was getting paid. So I felt weird, like begging for money for him when I'm not even paying the guys. You know what I mean? I'm not even getting paid and the guys aren't getting paid. And also like I'm building a new YouTube audience here. So like, I don't feel like you're making a lot of brand confidence if you just start slapping people in the face with like monetary requests as soon as they see your content. You know what I mean? Like I just didn't like it. And so one day we have a particularly big stream. I think there was like, 600 people watching, which was like triple what he would get on his stream. So it was a huge deal for him. And he started trying to spam his PayPal link in the chat and I deleted it. I had one of the mods delete it. Like, fuck, it was just like, come on, dude. Like we're not even talking about that. And then when we deleted it, he called my phone repeatedly until I got him on the air so that he could beg for money from people. And I fucking rolled my eyes. I did. Like, because fuck you. It's like, you know how classless that is? Like, we're trying to talk. I think we were going over a police report or something, but we're talking about a specific topic. And that's why those 600 people are there. They're not there to hear you beg for money, but he's going to do it regardless. So we got into a big fight afterwards because I told him just everything I said. Fuck you. This is not building brand confidence. And then what I kept going back to is I've got 6 guys that come out here and help me with equipment, audio, everything to do this stream for you. And we're paying for our own equipment and we're paying for our own studio space, and they're not getting a dime. And you have the audacity to take their work and try to monetize it for yourself. So we made an agreement after that he wanted us to use our own brand under Turtleboy. So it was Bristol Crew, but we still would be with Turtleboy, and that we would do these streams and we would monetize them ourselves, and we would give him 25% of everything that we made and keep the rest to split between 6 people, which, whatever, not for nothing, but we paid for everything to make that production happen. He had nothing to do with it other than he made us stay on his channel, right? So like, whatever. So we do that, and he wants me to find sponsors. So this one guy that sponsored his show approaches me and says, hey, I would like to sponsor yours too. Okay. So he was paying Aiden $1,200 a month for advertising on his live stream that would average 150 to 200 viewers per stream, which is outrageous. That's crazy. So I went online and I searched like the industry standard CPM rate for mid-roll readout advertisements. And I found out that it was somewhere between $18 to $20 per 1,000 views per month, right? So I gave him a quote of $300 to sponsor our stream. That paid the rent for the studio for the month. Right. Aiden's still getting 25% anyway. He's still giving Aiden his $1,200 a month. And it's something that I felt fair and comfortable with. When Aiden found out about this, he flipped his shit and started just going after me, saying I was undercutting him, that, my stream had 2 to 3 more times more viewers and I was charging him 2 to 3 times less. And pretty soon he's going to realize that he just wants to sponsor us and not him, which again is crazy because he was sponsoring both. He was a good guy. He was just trying to help out. But, the way that he reacted to the money and everything, I was like, fuck you. I'm done. Like, I'm done. Like, I've had enough. I don't like you anyway. I fucking hate your blog. Hate everything about it. Now you're hassling me over fucking $300 that you told me to go out and collect. And if you feel like I'm undercutting you because I'm charging the industry standard for, these ads, and you're charging 4 times more for half the viewers, that means you're scamming him. I'm not going to scam him too to try to cover up for your scam. I have to live with that. And I liked the guy. He was my friend. He used to come onto the streams with us sometimes. I'm not going to fuck him so that Aiden can continue to fuck him. So I told him, fuck you. I'm done. Take my name and my log off of all your fucking social media, your sites, your pages, everything. I'm fucking done. And he started trying to manipulate me to come back and still write blogs, and I wouldn't have it. And when he finally realized that I was done, he told everybody that I was an unfit mother, that I'm a drug addict, that I abused my children, that I stole money from him. And like, none of this is fucking true. I'm not the world's greatest mother and I've had problems, but I'm not beating my kids or otherwise neglecting or abusing them. Like, they're good, right? Like, but this was all his attempt to try to discredit me, make sure that I couldn't start my own YouTube channel with my friends, and make sure that he got some sort of revenge because I rejected him and walked away.
Right. Wow, that was a lot right there. I'm trying to process, because I mean, like I keep saying, I knew a little bit of this story, but that was just like the tip of the iceberg. This is just so entailed and so in depth that it's like not really easy to just really process right away. But ultimately, at what point do you think you started to recognize that these people that he was dragging on his blog and talking about are soon going to be you? Or did you realize that?
That what?
That he was going to do the same thing that he does to his people that he covers on his blog.
Oh, immediately. As soon as I first started, I would meet people because I was real friendly with like the turtle riders or whatever. A lot of these people, like if they wanted to meet up, I would go meet up with them, have drinks, whatever, like just hang out. And I found myself about 6 months after starting to work for him. Every time that I would go out with one of them, I would get after they got a drink in them or something, I would get to talking about what a piece of shit Aiden was. but I could never say it to his face because I knew it was going to happen. And I just felt stuck. And the reason that I felt stuck is because I knew, like, he's not going to go after me. He's going to go after my kids. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's going to go after my parents. He's going to, you know, put my job out there and try to get me fired. And so, like, I stuck around because I was a coward.
Yeah, I hear that. And I mean, I think that's a human nature reaction. How many times have you guys gone to court and actually had real life back and forth, like a court case?
Me and Aiden?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God. So I think so shortly after I left, he sent me, I don't even know how many texts. I mean, it was insane. He would call me like 40 times a day if I didn't answer, all day and all night. He would send these threatening text messages. I'll send some of them to you because I still have some of them archived. Crazy shit like, you better listen to what I say and do what I say, Kate, or you're going to hurt the people that you love. Do you want to be responsible for that? Just like batshit crazy. Like, have you ever quit a job before? Your boss usually doesn't do that. You know what I mean? Nuts.
No.
So after
I've
like
never had
3
that happen to
days
me
of
before,
this,
no.
right. After 3 days of this shit, I'm like, I'm going down and I'm getting a fucking harassment order. Like, because I warned him too. Like, I'm texting him going like, Aiden, let's just separate peacefully. You do your thing. I'll do mine. Like, this is out of control. Like, I'm going to have to get an order if you don't stop. And he just didn't fucking stop. So I went down, I got the order granted. It was good for, 2 weeks or whatever it was. Go back to get it extended. They won't extend it. Right. So the order gets dropped, whatever. And at that point, I was like, I'm never going to do that again. However, several years later, he got into it with my 16-year-old daughter, who he has been spreading the most vile rumors about since this child was 13 years old. Vile shit. Anything and everything. He's called her a prostitute. He's claimed that she hangs out with pedophiles. He's called her a drug addict. I've got people every day on Twitter that tell me that my daughter is selling her body for drugs on the street or getting gangbanged or whatever awful shit you should never say about a child. And none of it's true. So she and him got back and what got into a back and forth on Facebook because she reached out to him. I don't know why. I really don't know what the fuck she was thinking, but she reached out to him and said, listen, like, whatever you do with my mom is fine, but it's been years. Like, can you please leave me and my siblings out of it? We're just kids. Like, my mom's an adult. She asked for this. We didn't. And Aiden tried to manipulate her. And so she got mad at him and they went back and forth for days. And I would tell her to block him. And she would either give me lip service and then not, or she would go, screw you. I'm not blocking him. This is your fault anyway for, getting us involved in this. So after a while, he started making weird comments on live streams, like calling my daughter out by name and saying, like, just call me and I'll come get you. I'll pick you up and take you away from your mother. So I ended up getting a restraining order on her behalf against him. And the same thing happened. It was extended for, 2 weeks or a month or whatever it is. Go back. They dropped it. His lawyer went in and tried to make my daughter look like a fucking monster, it was pretty gross, whatever. So those 2 times I took him to court. He has filed, I believe, 6 police reports on me alleging crimes that did not happen, like computer hacking a couple of times, witness intimidation he's tried for. He's taken me and tried to get restraining orders against me 3 separate occasions. They never got granted at all, like not once. He took me one time to try to get a restraining order against me and his mistress at the same time, one of them. And then as soon as I walked up to the bench to defend myself, he dismissed the restraining order and said that he just got it to inconvenience me and make me go to court, right? So, like, I think grand total, I've taken him to court twice. I think it's twice. And he's taken me to court about 6 times.
And was there just a continuous battle just because of your beef from your separation, or was there just different events that were occurring?
Yeah, it's pretty much the separation. And then, like, I would, he would trash me, and I let it go for like a year, maybe. I would just try to ignore him. And then I started fighting back, right? And, he likes to pull up dirt on other people, but he's got a lot of dirt himself. And when I started becoming aware of some of the things like cheating on his wife or the shit that he does to his kids or the drug use, I started throwing that out in public too, right? Because now I have corroboration and proof of this stuff, and you want to attack everybody else for their messy lives. Like, all right, like then you're not immune either. Let's talk about yours. And so that escalated it for a while.
Oh,
I dropped it. Yeah, I dropped it at one point because I found another person on the internet that goes by Chili DeCastro, who's like this soft sit guy that was more my speed. And I started covering him on my channel a lot. So I would ignore Aiden entirely. And this really upset Aiden, number one, because he was being ignored. And number two, because my channel was getting, 3,000 people watching my live streams while he was sitting on 200 people, right? So he got pretty upset and jealous and would antagonize me. And I was pretty much resigned to just ignoring him because it's like we go back and forth. I talk to all his victims. I try to support them the best I can, but he's kind of a fucking cockroach, and like arguing with him and fighting with him is exhausting. And then the Karen Reed stuff happened. And originally I didn't want anything to do with it, but one of the victim's family members had actually emailed me and had asked me for help. And when I started looking into what had happened and, sort of what Karen is alleged to have done and the way that the witnesses and family and friends were being treated online, like I couldn't say no, I couldn't tell these people that they were just on their own. So like one by one, I started to get to know every witness in the case and all of John O'Keefe's family members and friends in the community and people, John's friends from work and just people that were really deeply affected not only by John's death, but everything that's happened since, especially with this witness intimidation going on. And I got to know them and I listened to their stories and I started going through court documents and I realized that this woman probably did hit this guy with her car. She's still innocent until, proven otherwise by a jury, but the evidence really suggests that what the Commonwealth alleged more or less did happen. And that just adds another layer to how awful it is, the way that they're treating all of these witnesses, most of whom were close personal friends with the victim,
Right.
And so I have been very involved, not only with fighting back and standing up to Aiden, more than I ever have. Like, this is probably the fiercest I've ever been. Like, I'm not fucking around with this guy anymore. I'm just not. Everybody needs to see him for who he is, and they need to band together on the people that he's victimizing. And I started also, I don't like Karen Reed either. I think she's a bad person. So I'm going to stand up to the entire mob that is formed on her behalf too, because it's just wrong. And these people don't deserve to be out here alone. They don't.
From you being local, is it people in your local area, do they know about the case and do they know about Turtleboy and do they support, which side is more prominent, do you think?
So the impression that I get, and again, I've talked to a lot of people in Canton where this happened. Not so many people in my town. It's not something you bump into every day. There's definitely like a large silent majority that is not okay with any of this and does not believe that Karen Reed is innocent and being framed. They're just either too afraid or too disinterested to speak out about it.
Right. And did he just happen to catch the story and decide to just cover it and now he's here where he's at?
Not exactly. No.
Because, I heard rumors that she had someone hired him to help with the...
So I'll explain my role with this too. Just about all of the information that's coming out, regarding especially the conspiracy between Aiden, Karen, Yannetti, and the various other people. I'm not going to say too much about who else may or may not be involved right now, but I've come up with a lot of this because I started researching it pretty intensely. And like I said, I've talked to a lot of people from all over. So we know for a fact now that Aiden got involved because a subscriber of his by the name of Jen Altman had been following the case and was very sympathetic to Karen Reed. So she would comment on news articles and leave things that were supportive of Karen Reed when nobody at all was, sticking up for her. Karen and her friend Natalie were monitoring social media and happened to see that this Jen Altman was very supportive. So Karen asked Natalie to reach out to this woman and thank her for her help and see if she could help more. When she did, Jen Altman connected Natalie with Turtleboy with Karen's permission. Okay. So with Karen, because Karen is everything that you're seeing happen here, every bit of witness intimidation, smear job, attack on John O'Keefe's family, everything is done with either the command of or the approval of Karen Reed. She is, without a shadow of a doubt, easily proven at this point, 100% behind all of this. Every single bit of it. So nothing that Aiden has done from the very beginning was done without Karen's approval, up to she was actually pre-screening and proofreading the blogs that he was writing.
Wow. And that's been outed in some of the well, I saw a part of some of the messages that got leaked where
it's confirmed in text, as well as there are a lot of witnesses to this that were around and involved in this at the time, and they've all corroborated the same thing. Right. So I feel entirely confident, not only that I can say this on your channel today, but that this at some point will be part of the public court record. Right. I know what I'm talking about. I'm very, very involved. And I'm very well informed with all of these things at this point. So yeah.
When he says in the one message that he doesn't like looking like he's a fool, basically, I'm rewording it. It's because of the fact that he's being told what to say and what to do. And it's not accurate. He's looking a little silly, especially
right. And that was May 7th. Those messages happened on May 7th. So up until May 7th. So late April until May 7th, which is a couple of weeks, the communications between Aiden and Karen were done mostly as with Natalie as an intermediary. So Karen would message Natalie on Signal, tell her what to say. She would copy and paste it, and then she would send it over to Aiden. And finally, this issue comes up about the Google search, and Aiden realizes that this story is crazy and not believable and starts panicking because he's now attached himself to this. So he and Karen end up going back and forth through Natalie, and Karen says, you know what, never mind, I'm going to call you. So at this point, Aiden and Karen talk on the phone. Nobody knows what they talked about. It's believed that this is when they made an arrangement. We don't know if it's financial or another type of arrangement, but some sort of arrangement was reached between the two of them, an agreement. And that's when Aiden started going full bore. No matter what Karen says, no matter how ridiculous it sounds, he will tooth and nail fight it and put it out there. And that was because of whatever arrangement that he made with Karen.
And so now that he's in jail, we don't see her out here protesting and gathering people to get him out. How do you think he's feeling about that? And what do you think is going to happen if he doesn't get released?
Well, I know that about a month ago, Karen had told Jen Altman, because Karen is in direct communication with Jen Altman. I have a list of people actually that Karen is in direct communication with, that, obviously has made its way to the authorities at this point. So I'm not going to go through every single one, but Karen has been in contact with Jen Altman since the beginning. So Karen did make a comment to Jen Altman that she was very concerned about Aiden and viewing him as a liability, and that she was concerned that she was going to get dragged down with him at this point.
I wonder how long it took her to recognize that, because I would have probably, outed my, not outed. I would have checked my sources on the character before I decided to make him my spokesperson. That's just me.
Right, and that's something Natalie had said to me, because she expressed a lot of regret and anguish over her role. Now, that's the one thing that I think is interesting too, about more and more of these people that were involved in this in some capacity are starting to reach out to me so that they can go to the appropriate channels and help right this wrong. And they all seem to feel really guilty that they didn't do their due diligence, that they didn't look this guy up before getting involved. But I believe that Karen is smart enough that she probably knew what she was getting involved with to some extent ahead of time. And that's probably why she agreed to work with him or selected him in some way, is that she probably knew more or less what he was capable of and what he was willing to do.
I mean, I agree, because of just how I see it. And this has clearly become a circus, that you're looking at the sideshow to the left while the actual incident is occurring on the right. And it's hard to get a fair trial. People are saying now, she will finally get a fair trial or a just trial based on the fact that he's locked up. But I don't know, because it's almost to the point now where there's just been such doubt created in the actual story to begin with, that I think he kind of did what she wanted him to do, and that's a shame.
I think that what people are not giving enough credit to or recognizing, is that all this is happening outside of the courtroom. Karen Read is not going to be found guilty or not guilty outside of a courtroom. Right? There's one place that's going to happen in front of, a jury of her peers. And we haven't heard all the evidence that's going to make that courtroom. And frankly, we've probably heard a lot of stories that aren't going to make it to trial. You know what I mean? That are just going to be inadmissible, which is probably why the defense is putting them out ahead of time, right? Because why are you going to, show your strategy pregame? You're probably not. You're probably going to throw all the other stuff that isn't going to make it in at the wall and hope that it has some effect one way or the other. There's a lot more evidence that the prosecution has that we're not going to know until March. And I like to remind people that, you get the defense side of things, but the people that know the most about the prosecution side of things, which is still not everything, but more than you or I, well, unless they choose to share it, is the victim's family, right? They have access to the victim witness advocate. They're being kept apprised of the trial as it moves on. And they're privy to information that you would not be as the victim's family. The victim's family is absolutely certain that Karen Read hit their loved one with her car. And they have been provided certain pieces of information that I am aware of because they were kind enough to share that I think are going to be very difficult for the defense to overcome at trial. So I don't think that she has tainted the jury pool or thrown the justice system in a substantial way that's going to save her, which is probably one of the worst things about this whole story, right? Is she's caused this much damage and suffering to people that at one point were her friends, allowed him that, she was around their children. She was in their homes. They attended social events together. These were people that she knew. They're not just random strangers on the other side of a computer screen, real people that she's caused so much damage to for in a gambit that may not and probably will not pay off for her in the end. Nobody wins here. Nobody.
Right. And that's where I understand actually what you're saying. And I kind of, now that you said it like that, agree more to that than the opposite. As for Turtleboy poisoning the jury pool is what somebody just said. The fact that when I asked you who all in your local area knew about this case, even that alone actually is the benefit of the jury, is that they're going to pick people that aren't into true crime like we are. So it's not necessarily that the jury pool is tainted, and that's a positive. And now that he's been put away, it's almost like he's going to be silenced somewhat, and it's not going to be as crazy. But we see all of his followers and all of his people amping up the responses, and we see other YouTubers that are out here preaching on his behalf. And so it's like, as a viewer, as an outsider, not from your area and whatnot, I would just really I'm hoping I was wrong my initial statement as to the jury and as to the fairness of the trial, because what really stood out for me with Turtleboy, I knew the past, the little bit that I knew, but the part where he was out there and he starts booing the victim's mother, that was it for me. That was it. And if people see that, I don't know how else to explain it to them.
And he'll still try to go back and go, oh no, I told them to stop. It's like he
wasn't just booing her. He also got online and was talking bad about the mother
a ton before and after. That's what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
and
they were booing her horrible because of the way that he portrayed her. Right? Like
that's absolutely horrible. I didn't mean to jump in and cut you off, but I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in there. Like that just shows you he's a scumbag,
Yeah.
He's made up lies about the victim's brother. He's accused him of stealing money from the children. That never happened. He's accused him of being a severe alcoholic. That never happened. He's bringing up that the guy was charged with DUI 3 years ago or something. It's not even relevant to this at all. And then painting Karen Read like some sort of saint that isn't capable of hitting her boyfriend with a car because she paid Paul's $100 bail. Like, it's just, silly stuff that but it's disturbing when you see the messages between her, and Aiden through Natalie, because she was telling Aiden to go after the family.
Wow.
She was telling him to go after Paul O'Keefe. Telling him to go after
Pickle. Know what he was paid. You know what I'm saying? He's all in this for the money. She's allowing him to use her name to sell hoodies and make money off of it. So there is some type of payment involved between Karen Read and Turtleboy.
We know that on May 7th on the phone, they came to some sort of agreement. Nobody knows what that is. There's rumors here and there. I've heard that it was the Lexus. I've heard that it was payment. I've heard that it was exclusive rights to all this inside information. I don't know. I know that nobody goes this hard with this many consequences in their own life for free. You know what I mean? Like nobody's doing 90 days, bail revoked and everything else and getting into this much trouble and writing 298 blogs and talking about this case 10 hours a week.
Don't this mess up their master plan though if Karen Reed gets convicted and goes to prison? I would think maybe.
What's that?
Don't you think that would mess his master plan up though? There ain't going to be no Netflix deal for him if Karen Reed goes to prison.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he has a vested interest in being right. Yeah.
Or this book deal, when people act like this, I don't think anybody's acting like that for free. I do believe Turtleboy is being paid.
I do think that it's not only just monetary, though. It's the fact that he's so desperate for that fame that he's caught the fame train, and it's almost like he's got to stay on that ride. And he's impulsive. From what I've witnessed, I don't know him, but just from behavior, I find it fascinating just watching somebody's behavior. And to me, it's like, I don't think he can stop. So I think if he were to get bond, bail, whatever, I think he's just going to continue to dig himself deeper and deeper based on his prior behavior and actions. For me, I mean, I feel like he's just that type of a person based on what I've seen.
Well, yeah, he's completely worked against his self-interest. Like the chain of events that led to his domestic and his subsequent arrest and the bail revoking are shocking. Like just sequentially how everything happened. I am really taken aback. I've never thought that he was a particularly smart man. I know that he has some definite mental issues that he is not addressing. And I suspect that drugs may play a part in this as well. But like, what he did was so illogical and against his own self-interests that I cannot fathom what the fuck was going through his head. Like from start to finish. If you find out someone is going to testify against you, you probably should avoid them. Like, it's one thing to like tweet at them or even call them on the phone, but to show up at their house, like what is wrong with you? Literally the same day that you get arraigned on 16 charges in Superior Court. Like that's crazy.
I can actually explain that just based off of my observation. He's the type of person where he's gathered so many people up underneath him that have done what he's manipulated them into doing, and he thought that he could convince this girl to give him what he's looking for based on his ability to control her in the past, and he's got that impulse to just go, and and that's just, like I said, I don't know the man. I just have witnessed his actions, and that's why I say almost I would bet my life pay savings on freaking the fact that he would not ever stop, because he's so deep into it now. He's going to continue, and once he's seen the fame, he wants it more. He's a liability for Karen Reed, that's for sure. But
Definitely.
That's my opinion.
He might have started off helping her, but now he's a liability.
For sure. I'm not even sure where the heck I was going with that. I can't even process how other people don't see the basics of his behavior and how, like, what direction he's trying to go into. It's like he could say the sky's purple and he's got a group of people that are literally like, yes, the sky is purple. Like, how did you get here? How did we get here as a society?
Well, yeah, this is like, I think this is probably the worst time as far as the mob goes, because one thing that was brought up to me today that's probably pretty valid is the people that are left following him now, they know that they're following a madman and they don't care. So they're probably some of the more dangerous ones.
Do you think that he's lost supporters from this whole thing being exposed? His side or some of
I know that he has, because some of them have reached out to me. So I think the more I think every time that something bad happens with him, he loses people that are like more reasonable. And so until like now, I think it's really the fringe, the real unstable people that are left behind, unfortunately.
How soon do you think he's going to throw Karen to the wolves when he gets no bond? That he sits in jail.
I think when he realizes how much information there is right now in the Commonwealth's possession that corroborates that Karen Reed is the ringleader on all this. I think once he realizes that, that's going to come out regardless, it'll be a safe way for him to turn and snitch without everything that happens afterwards being his fault in his mind.
Yeah. I think that as soon as he has to really sit in reality and recognize he's sitting in jail and he's not getting out anytime soon is where that desperation, he seems to work off of the actions on his desperation, and it's like he's not controllable at this point. And a lot of it, I guess your experience has drugs written all over it, mental illness. It's scary to witness because it's almost like you're watching a train derail.
And one thing is, people that are used to controlling people like that, when they lose control of people, they start to fly off the rails because they're used to having that control, and then they don't know how to handle it.
Yep. That's, I believe, what happened with the ex-girlfriend, is that he was so used to having control over the lady that he thought he was going to be able to get there and get all the information she had as for being a witness against the case. So it didn't go like any normal person would be like, oh, look, she's been called as a witness, I'm going to not mess with her now. And he does opposite and goes to her house. It's just crazy.
After, a month of pretty severe psychological manipulation and abuse as well, because I've seen a lot of their communications prior to this, and the narrative that they're spinning about this woman is not accurate. And also that recording that he put out, he manipulated. There's actually another version of the audio that he sent to people. This is what I mean. Like, the sequence of events that led to him ultimately being locked up is just like a masterclass in what not to do when you're out on 16 bails, like just crazy. So he wiretapped her. In my state, it is illegal to record a verbal conversation without the knowledge and consent of both parties. So you can't call me and start hitting record without asking me and me consenting, right? So he recorded her without her knowledge with his phone in his pocket. And he starts recording when she's very upset and she's yelling and she's crying. And he suddenly becomes very calm, and he's gaslighting her. But he altered the video afterwards and dubbed in himself saying, I'm recording this, right? And then he picks up another part of the audio.
Didn't he say, I'm still recording? And that's the part that I caught right away when I listened to the audio initially, was the fact that he said, I'm still recording this. And
right. And that didn't actually
happen. I thought instantly when he said that was, where's the beginning of the recording where you said, hey, look, I'm recording you. The person has to consent, I thought, to them being recorded.
Right.
And then, yeah, so.
Right. So that never happened at all, though. So there's actually a second version, the original version of that audio. And what he did was he was actually kind of far away from he sounds more far away from the phone, not like it's in his face. And he's demanding his papers back. So what he did was he edited the original version to add that I'm still recording in, grabbed another portion where she says, I know, dubbed it together. So not only do we have both versions of the audio to prove there's an original and then the one that you edited, but the editing was so poor that you can actually hear that it was dubbed in. And when you look at the waveforms on like Adobe Audition or another editing software, you can see the breaks in the zero crossing where it was dubbed in poorly and it's incongruent. You can literally physically see that. So he decided to wiretap this woman, create false evidence, put it on the internet while he was on the run from the police, turn himself in 3 days later, and then submit this fraudulent audio to the courts and have his attorney proffer to it.
Who did he send the original audio to? What an idiot.
I know it's probably a few people. I'm not going to disclose where I got it from right now.
And I didn't mean like I wanted to know their name and their date of birth, but I just meant like, what kind of thought process are you going to have when you're just like on the run now and you decide, hey, I'm an unedited version? I wouldn't want to tell nobody that I even did that, much less send them the actual proof and the audio. That's crazy.
Well, that's what he did. And then he either dumped or hid his phone.
Wow. That's the part where I was confused when they were in the courtroom and it was getting said that the judge wanted his phone and it was like he didn't have it. I'm like, what do you mean he didn't have it? Where is it? Like, what? So that just screams guilty.
I heard he slung that phone in the river.
Yeah, she was saying that he either hid it or he dumped it. So either one sounds guilty to me, because if I'm coming to a court date that I have, I'm not gonna not have my phone in the car.
Yeah, usually you put it in the car under the seat. Grab it when you come out. A lot of them courts have lockers too. You can lock them under the locker.
Right. That's what I mean. And I don't know, did we lose Kate? Are you still with us?
Did we lose her?
It seems that way.
Okay.
I don't know. I heard he threw it in the water on his way to MPD. Wow. I just.
Yeah,
Oh,
rumors. I don't know.
Oh, you're back. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. The fact that he didn't have it for me, that just screams guilt to me, because, I mean, I use my phone for everything. He uses his phone for all his social media, for everything. So it's not normal for him to say, hey, I just don't have my phone today. I'm sorry. I'm not buying it.
Right.
But this whole story is insane. I hope, I don't want to say I hope he doesn't get a bond, because I think that once he gets a bond, he'll come out and just do the same thing, because he's in that desperation mode. And that's actually when people become scared.
I mean, that's how he makes his money. If you take that away from him, how is he going to make money? That's all he has.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, I do actually have to run because my family's getting hungry.
Okay.
So I'm getting some food. Thank you for having me, though, and we'll get
And
up again.
thanks for coming up. Yeah, definitely. We
All right,
appreciate
guys,
you
have
coming
fun.
up. Bye-bye.
All right.
And for the first time in a long time, I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago.
Bicycle.